What's going on, everyone? My name is Jordan Taylor Wright, also known as Taylor Cut Films, and we're back for another episode of Creator Series. So for pre-production, what it mostly consists of, I guess it depends on the shoot, but for say a music video, the main things are figuring out a location. Sometimes you can rent like a white site, you can do studio spaces. Thankfully here in Los Angeles where I live, there's a bunch of places on Peer Space that you can rent locations that either come like pre-dressed with different like art or different lighting. I have these Nanlite Pavo tubes. Sarah's holding one right now, she's killing it. But yeah, they're RGB, you can change the colors with them. When we shoot on set, pretty much the tubes are the main things that we'll use because we can change the different colors, figure out how we want to light it. Also in pre-production, say if you're shooting for another talent, you're not shooting for say myself or for somebody else, you gotta think of like wardrobe, hair and makeup. Also you gotta think of say if there's dancers, so how many dancers may need to come. Basically pre-production is thinking of all the things you need to have on set, and a part of that is obviously the gear. Right now, I have two main cameras. I have the Sony A1, which is what we're filming this on. I personally love it. It's 50 megapixels for photos. If I wanted to take pictures and flip between photos and videos, it also shoots 8K at 24 frames and 30 frames. So that's what we're doing right now is 8K 24. It gives you the ability to punch in if you need to. Thankfully, I have pretty much only one lens that I'm using right now, which is the Tamron 35 to 150, which they sent me. It's an f2 to 2.8, so it's incredibly fast. It covers a wide range. I'll use that as my normal like day-to-day run and gun type situation. That plus the Ronin S2 pretty much handles everything that I need. I have a slight 1/8 diffusion filter, which helps like squash the highlights a little bit if you're wearing all white or what have you. If you're shooting outside, it gives like the highlights a nice roll off. Other than that, on set, I do also own a red Monstro, which has a VistaVision sensor, so it's incredibly wide. We'll rent lenses if we need to, and we'll get a Steadicam operator as well, so we have like a full package. But I pretty much just have that and this A1. That's pretty much a complete package for if I need to do like higher end production stuff, like if I'm doing something with Usher or Bieber or whatever it may be, or a different client. And then if I'm shooting stuff for like the internet and social media, then the A1 handles everything that I need to. So if I'm not being hired to say make a music video or work with a musical artist where you're gonna use their music, if I'm making something for say like YouTube or social media, I really like using the partner of this video is LUTs. I love using their services. It's been a website that I've been actually using for a while now. They started with just the ability to license music from your favorite artists, which has been incredible. So if there's a song I hear on the radio, iTunes, Spotify, whatever, and I want to use it, say, for social media, you can license it directly through the website. You can still monetize on the different platforms and you won't get a copyright strike, which is huge because obviously if you're a creator just starting out using music that's copywritten, your video gets taken down. So you definitely don't want that. So those services have been amazing, but they actually just announced that they're offering stock music as well. So I'll pretty much use LUTs now for whatever music that I need to source because you have large array of music to choose from, and also you can find music from your favorite artists, which is really cool. No matter what my mood or genre or vibe is, I'm able to find it. And music for me is incredibly important because it sets the tempo and the vibe of what type of video you're going to make. So, you know, a lot of the times I'll start with just the audio and then figure out my ideas from there. I highly recommend you check out LUTs if you get the ability, and the link will be in the description. Right now we're shooting at 8K, 24 frames a second. I say the majority of the time, unless there's like dialogue, I'm shooting at 4K 120. I love the ability to slow stuff down. I think it gives it like a really magical and ethereal look, and you can like take moments and stretch them out. And I love speed ramping and kind of playing with time. So that's what I'll use, and double the shutter speed. So if you're shooting at 120, you keep it at 250. If you're on a DSLR, mirrorless camera, I'll try to keep the lens as low as possible. So like 2.5, 2.8, having a variable ND is amazing because then you can keep it all the way stopped down and you have that shallow depth of field and that bokeh. Yeah, and other than that, I keep the ISO native. So for this, it's ISO 640, and then other than that, you shoot as flat a color profile as possible. So this, I use C-Log, S-Log 3, whatever your version of log and flat is, and then you can do all your color grading in post. A lot of what I've been talking about with like pre-production, production, and all of that stuff is fine, but sometimes if you're not getting hired to do something, or if you don't have a job, I like just staying creative constantly. So I'll go and, explore beautiful places. Obviously, like on this channel, you've seen me travel to a lot of places and make travel type content. And while you're doing that, you want to take photos for your social media, and you also want to make videos because that's, video is the way to create a narrative, if you will. So using like a mirrorless camera like the A1, like I mentioned, is amazing because you can toggle between the two, but I find myself always doing video first. So that way, I will have it on the Ronin S2. I'll have it all balanced. Thankfully, I'm using just this one lens right now, like a zoom lens. The 35 to 150 is really good for me. Maybe you want to use a 16 to 35, a 70 to 200, whatever it may be. Find something that has like a wide range. And then what I'll do is I'll shoot all my video stuff first. And then, I'll keep the shutter and everything at like 250 if I'm shooting 120 or whatever it may be. I'll capture all my content and I'll walk through all like the different motions that I want to go through. And what I find is this kind of opens up my vision and perception of like what I want to get. Like I'll move from behind a tree, or like I'll have someone walk towards the edge, or whatever it may be, and you'll capture all that. And then what you do, once I capture all the videos, I'll take it off of the stabilizer and then I'll flip it into manual mode on the A1. And then I'll set up basically I'll just increase the shutter speed if I need to for photos, but then I'll kind of walk through the same stuff I did for video, but now with like static images, kind of the same shots that I just did with video, I'll now do in photo. But I like to get the video out of the way first, because too many times I've taken cool photos somewhere and then all of a sudden the lighting changes or the element changes or people show up, whatever, and you're like, man, I really wish I got the video. Because for me, like video is something that I'd rather have more long-term, forever, because then once you get back, you edit the photos, you post them, it's amazing. But the video is something that you can like keep forever and shape a narrative out of, or even like months, years later, be like, oh, I remember that one shot that I got here and I think it'd work well with this. So that's kind of how I juggle between the two, but I kind of prioritize video first and then get the photo stuff that I can after that. Yeah, so creativity is interesting because obviously, you can't turn it on. There's things you can do to kind of allow your battery to recharge. For me, of recent, what that's been is, music, as I mentioned, like listening to different type of music that like give me goosebumps or that help me visualize something is an excellent way of staying creative. Other than that, like working out and stretching, eating healthy, drinking a lot of water, allowing myself to feel optimal, tired or stressed. I feel like that's the #1 drainage of being creative. And I also like sobriety. Like I wasn't never a big drinker, but like marijuana is popular and a lot of different things. But just I find, at least personally, like being sober allowed me to feel more clear and helps just like untap my creativity a little bit more. Also, I watch stuff that I would want to potentially make. Like I love movies. I'll just throw out some movie recommendations. I love like Good Will Hunting, Life of Pi, Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Avatar, Ready Player One. Anything that kind of, as I'm watching, it inspires me, or like the cinematography is really beautiful. That helps me in my creative process. And it sounds stupid, but enjoying life as much as you possibly can. So surround yourself with people that you find don't drain you and you're able to laugh with. I find that helps with creativity. Writing also, write down your thoughts. A lot of times if you bottle everything up, you get clogged. So I used to journal every morning when I woke up and before I went to sleep rather than checking my phone, and I found that was like a healthy way to stay creative. So maybe one of those will help, but yeah, ultimately do what feels right for you and don't force creativity, you know. If you're feeling like you have something to say, then say it, but it's okay to recharge. Pre-production is amazing, but what I find is a lot of the times you could have general ideas of what you want to shoot, you can try and execute it, but for me, post-production is where you get to bring out the magic and where you get to fully tell your story. You know, you get all of the puzzle pieces, if you will, while you're filming, and then when you get home, you get to figure out how to piece and put that puzzle together. So post-production for me it's super cathartic too. I find myself, even when I have free time, even if there isn't a specific project I'm working on, I'll constantly be editing, or I'll be sifting through old footage or looking to see if different things can piece together, or, you know, music, finding a song that I like and just blocking different things on top of it to see how it flows. And post-production for me is where you kind of allow that creativity to fully come to life. I love photo editing. You know, a lot of my photo edits, when I'm taking a photo, I'll think of what I can do in post-production. You know, if I'm taking photos in a forest, I think of, oh, maybe I can add fireflies here, or maybe I can change the lighting to do this, or I can make it look like Narnia or whatever, you know. Again, like watching movies, I get inspired by seeing some of these like more fantastical things, and I think of how I can execute that. Similar to video as well, a lot of the times I'll shoot plates where I'll like film just a forest, I'll film the sky or clouds in a drone shot and be like, yo, what if a whale's jumping out of the clouds here like Fantasia? Or what if I add, you know, like 2 moons in the sky so it feels like Star Wars? As you can see, my apartment's pretty well decorated and a lot of colors and all of that thing. So I kind of like, this is dressed the way that I think in post-production, so I kind of like live the way that I try to make my art the same way. So post-production for me is the way to digitally paint my canvas and paintbrush. So yeah, I'm sure all of you can relate as well. You can shoot something, but the way to really put it all together and to bring your vision fully to life is the editing process. So on that note, don't be scared to, you know, explore and play around and express the way you see the world, because you can watch things from other people, but ultimately like tune into how that allows you to feel and then show it the way you see it, because we all have a unique lens. So don't be scared to kind of show the way you see the world. Other people will relate to it as well.